I think we invested enough time on scalability, flexibility, where the market is heading, where Kaminario is heading, and how we are utilizing our existing IP and technology. And now I want to discuss what we are doing around simplicity, around integration. And of course, there is all the obvious stuff all vendors are doing about integration with hypervisors, OpenStack, integration with backup software. This is the normal business for storage, but I would like to talk about unique things that we are doing. So, first I would like to introduce the vision of what we call data center aware storage. What does it mean? So when we speak with customers, they are telling us, okay, storage is becoming simpler. And managing Kaminario system is much way simpler than managing legacy system with provisioning is easier. All these things are much easier. But the main challenge is how to integrate the storage system with other layers of the IT stack. This is a real challenge. Because of all the virtualization, it's becoming more difficult to analyze problems and to understand where the problem is. So we are focusing now, we're very focused on analytics and understanding how the storage system, Kaminario system operates. Now we are shifting into a wider look of how Kaminario system is deployed in the full IT stack, the hypervisor, and up to the database layer. Now, what we already have today is our analytics platform, they call L-Shield Analytics. That we are collecting data in the past several years and predicting problems customers may face. And what we are doing now, we are expanding it. So this is a block diagram of how it is working. In the middle, you have the Kaminario system. And it's connected to a SaaS application, what we call the L-Shield. And we are gathering information actually from two different sources. We are gathering information both from the Kaminario system, what business, like things that we are doing in the past several years. But we are also gathering information from the hosts to better understand not just how it works on the Kaminario system, but also how it works, what is the impact of the application, what is the impact on the hypervisor. And of course, we have APIs, REST APIs to the cloud-based L-Shield. Now, with the data, if we were just collecting the data, nothing interesting happened. Now you need to use the knowledge that you have from the Kaminario system and from the host. And we are running analytics both in the Kaminario system. Actually, in the Kaminario system, we are running only very basic analytics. And the majority of the analysis is done in the back office. Why it's done in the back office? Because of two reasons. One is that we want this value to be very flexible and agile, and we want to be able to upgrade the version of the L-Shield every week and to gain benefits to our customers. This is one thing. The other reason is that we do not want to consume the CPU resources of the system to do analytics. We want the Kaminario system to invest their resources in running IOs fast and consistent. So what are we doing with the data? And this is very, very interesting. So the first thing that we are doing is to simplify deployment. So we get information from the Kaminario, from the hypervisor. So if something is not configured well, we are optimized. We are telling the customer that they need to make the modification. I will review that in the future. We'll change things automatically. But from security reasons, the first step for us is to just notify the customer that something is not optimized. And this is how we can simplify the deployment. If we look like in resiliency, in the past we were just looking at the resiliency of the Kaminario system. But now we're looking at resiliency of other layers. For instance, if something is not configured well in the multipass, it's also our problem. Because when there will be a problem of that will require the multipass, then customer might face a loss of access. And it's very critical, not just to make sure that the storage is working on design, but all the layers are working on design. Also, this is why we call it data center aware, is how we optimize the system based on the data we collect. So as you see here, Oracle. And this is, by the way, the demo that we'll show. We are, for instance, when we are doing a quality of service, we are not just collecting data from the Kaminario and building a quality of service that is optimized just according to what we see on the storage. It's also collecting data from the Oracle. If you know the AWR, the performance data of the Oracle, with a collection of data both from the application and from the Kaminario, what we are able is also to optimize the environment, the storage to the specific customer environments. So for instance, we can optimize when it matters for the customer. So for instance, if the Oracle is not bottlenecked by the storage, there is no reason to improve the quality of service for the specific database. But on the other hand, it's possible that a specific database is getting very, very low performance, low latency, and still would like, we still see that the Oracle is bottlenecked by the I/O, so we can further optimize it. So just to summarize the type of thing we are doing with the analytics, we are optimizing the storage according to the understanding of the customer environment. This is one thing. And we also looking at the wider problem of the customer. And I will give an example. One of the problems that Frederick was referring to was how to transform from their legacy infrastructure into an all-flash data center. And there is a challenge of, okay, it will take 3 years and everything will move to an all-flash data center. What are you doing in between? What are you moving first and what you are moving next to the all-flash array? If you have the data from the Oracle, you can look at the quality of service not just about the Kaminario system, but also what to move to Kaminario and what not to move to Kaminario for the next year. What makes sense to move to Kaminario and what makes sense maybe to move to the cloud, because it's not bottlenecked by the performance of the storage.
Question. Yes. How do you decide what you think you know is best practice, and what should be done and what shouldn't be done? So you use the example of multipathing. I think we'd all probably say yes. We would expect multipathing. That's pretty obvious. But how can you say what the customer's doing on their application is correct or incorrect?
Okay.
How can you make
so we have our own best practices.
Okay.
If something is not working, it's like an urgent alert. If something we believe it's not optimized, we'll tell them it's not optimized, but they can say, okay, don't show me this alert anymore because I know what I'm doing. But we give them the opportunity to understand that something is wrong.
Okay. And how much are you taking information from many customers to make that decision? So, it would seem to me the most obvious way to get this data and use it is to be looking at lots of customers, yes, seeing the best way everybody does it overall.
It's an excellent question because, and actually it's very related to the demo that we are about to show, because we have a database-aware quality of service heuristics. How did we build them? Based on data we collected with many customers. What this analytics will help customer is to tell him, okay, for this specific application, use this quality of service heuristics. This is the value we'll bring to customer, but the way that we are collecting data from many customers allows us to build the right quality of service heuristics for...
and will you cut that by application type, by industry, by, so for instance, I'm trying to think of a good example, but there may be certain ways that people deploy certain applications.
Exactly. So we'll not cut it by Oracle because, for instance, OLTP and OLAP have really different needs.
Yeah.
So we will cut it according to the right abstraction layers, of course.
So does the customer have? I'm not sure. Chris already asked this. Does the customer have access to the Health Shield data? Can they run analytics themselves, or is it all done by you guys? And
when we'll G8, customer will have access. And actually, we have REST API, so we can just have the normal, and this is what we'll show, the normal GUI, nice GUI view that you can do is customize a dashboard and get all the insights. And actually, it's the right time probably to go and show it in real live demo. But also, we'll have the REST API. So if they just need the APIs and they don't need all the GUI, they can do it as well.
Is it for all of the arrays that you have deployed?
Yes.
Can you do any access controls on what arrays are seen by different user accounts?
Now it's per customer.
Mm-hmm.
So it's similar access control to what they have in the GUI. Okay.
You have an agent, a plugin for any application who talk with the Kaminario system?
We have an agent.
Yeah.
The way that we send the data is through the Kaminario system. We don't want to have any host to send data separately because it will be too much of a pain from security to do the firewall for each one of them. So we are sending out of band to the Kaminario, and Kaminario is sending it outside. Of course, some of the benefits, what is nice about it, it's a layered solution. So some of the benefits you gain with the agent, some of the benefits you gain without the agent. So for instance, some customers that will not have the agent will have, for instance, the quality of service heuristic that we learn from other customers so they can use it manually if, for instance, they know it's an OLTP or OLAP database and they know what they are doing. But the best value is when it's fully optimized and it's much simpler for them with all the information and the analytics. We are gathering, and the way I look at the sky's the limit because you can do many things. For instance, if you have an application that is running a specific workload at the day, like OLTP, and then I did some batch processing at the end of the month, there is some sort of end of the month process, the analytic will detect the pattern, so we will automatically allow them to have a schedule that automatically changes the quality of service based on the time. And these are types of patterns that it's not always that easy to detect for the customer, so we'll tell them about it and they can change it automatically. I think it's, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, another question, please. So I suppose you have some customers who have Kaminario systems as alongside other systems. Is there a way to feed the data that you have in your analytics tool to another, let's say, enterprise-wide tool in terms of metrics, etc.?
So with REST APIs, you can do it.
Okay.
This is why we have the APIs. But actually, we do two different things. One is they can get the data from us to a different tool. This is one thing that they can do. The other thing is that we will collect data also for areas that are important for the environment that are not necessarily sit on Kaminario to do things like, okay, what to move to Kaminario, which was the example I gave.
So you're meaning that you're able to import data from other analytic systems or from other tools?
You
like
can import from
or
Kaminario with using the REST APIs.
Okay, thank you.